Hello and welcome to Reporters, the programme that brings you the very best stories from our correspondents around the world. This week we're heading to the heart of Australia, where a relatively untouched part of the Northern Territories has been invaded by artists and archaeologists, trying to find out more about cave paintings which could hold the key to the past. The sketchings are believed to date back tens of thousands of years and could even be the oldest of their kind in the world. What's more, beyond the artistic value of these drawings, the findings could shed light on the living conditions of the first men on Earth.
We're in Kimberley, a region some 600 kilometres west of the city of Darwin. It's here, in this vast and wild territory, reaching over 400,000 square kilometres, that a team of Australian researchers discovered some particularly ancient rock paintings, perhaps the oldest of humankind.
If you remember the site before, it's only on some figures. So I think it's an infill decoration. And it's not on them all.
Those two over in the mid-section that look like clawed hand, do they?
Hundreds of painted rock faces that scientists call panels have already been listed, showing different pictures. A myriad of animals which lived in the region, mysterious shapes, but also people who seem to be dancing. It's a style of painting that the local population, the Aborigines, call Gwion.
I think that this is a master panel of Gwion depictions. We particularly like this panel because it's so sharp and clear. The face that it's painted on is a very light coloured panel. Sometimes the panels are very stained with hematite, and so the figures don't show up so clearly. We suspect that these paintings are perhaps 20,000 years old, could be even longer.
20,000 years, the dawn of time. Only a few rare paintings elsewhere on the planet are from this period, like, for example, in France, those in the Lascaux Caves, which are 17,500 years old. And what also surprised the researchers is the beauty of these paintings and what they show. Clothing, which appears to have been woven from natural fibres.
If these are in fact older than 17,000 years, it's the first evidence we have in the world of people being able to weave.
Wow.
Or people using weaving. Now, that's pretty exciting.
My prediction would be that the oldest paintings, the oldest rock paintings, will date to the initial occupation of this continent. Probably a little bit earlier than about 50,000, something of that order, 50,000 plus or minus a little bit. And the oldest paintings will be, rock paintings will be of that age as well, I'm sure. The first people that got here were artists. And I'm just starting to appreciate just how varied it is. Just, you know, the one we saw yesterday, that figure with all the spear throws, quite extraordinary. Okay, I mean, you wonder what the person was on when they painted that. I mean, I hadn't seen that art style before.
It's the first time that research teams have come to this region. It is difficult to access and has remained isolated from the rest of the world for thousands of years. The expedition is difficult to organise. We are hundreds of kilometres from the nearest town. There's no road. Here we have to travel by helicopter. With one inhabitant for every 30 square kilometres, it is one of the least populated regions in the world. So, for 3 weeks, we camp. Our team of archaeologists, anthropologists, members of the Aboriginal community, and a few volunteers from the four corners of the continent has to be self-sufficient.
We've got people from University of Wollongong, from the Australian National University, from the University of New England, from the West Australian Department of Environment and Conservation, and the Warrnambool people are from two communities, from Kandawal community and from Kalumburu. So it's still a mixture.
To try and learn more about these paintings, the team of archaeologists digs at the foot of these painted rock faces. Each square metre is excavated in minute detail, centimetre by centimetre. The earth is then brought to the surface, weighed and sifted. And here's where it gives away its secrets. Carved stone, animal remains and carbon. We have concrete proof that the site was regularly inhabited by humans for thousands of years.
We have sort of an enclosure here of an escarpment and all around the escarpment there's a series of art sites. There's 3 major sites, but there's a lot of panels in between. So we've got a really dense concentration of art here, with a creek quite close by, and the Mitchell River is only about half a kilometre away to the west. Well, I think there'd be numerous reasons why there'd be a concentration. The first is because there's the available rock faces, but the second is that I think it'd be an area very rich in resources. So you would have shelter for people, places for the rock art, and the whole area would have been a very nice place to be.
Several hundred Aborigines still live in this territory, so it makes sense that the representatives of the community are part of the team. They actively participate in the search for these ancestral paintings. When they're discovered, they reappropriate them, copy them, so as to pass them on to the rest of the community.
I'm actually doing this Quean figures, and just sketching all these Quean figures, you know, as we see it, and so we can take it back, and this is the picture that I draw, because we don't want to lose our culture and our traditional painting, and so we teach our kids how to do all these things and to speak the language where our ancestors, you know, our old people, they teach us some language and all that. So we continue doing our art.
It's a unique phenomenon in the world. People have never stopped rock painting. It is still very present in the heart of the Aboriginal population today. This tradition has continued over the ages.
The sheer variety, as well as the time depth of art in this area, and also the fact that you've got descendants from the artists still here, still doing art, still interested in the art, being re-inspired by the art. You can sort of see that they're getting inspired and looking at these paintings it's exciting to be part of that. Okay, people rediscovering their cultural heritage.
To solve the mystery of how old these paintings are, the scientists look for clues, for traces left by people who came here. It's the role of the American archaeologist, Mark Moore, a specialist in carved stone.
Our particular role in the project is to try to develop a context for these paintings. We want to have a complete story that includes the rock art as well as all the aspects of prehistory that happened in this part of the Kimberley. And one way that we can find that out is by doing excavations into the floors of these rock shelters, because not only did Aboriginal people make beautiful rock art here, but they also camped in this particular spot, and they brought in their bush tucker that they procured from out there on the landscape. They brought it in here to cook and to eat. They made stone tools in this location. Well, this is what we call a bulk sample. It's just a sample of the soil that we've excavated from the excavation unit, and this is the sort of material that we can do processing on and come up with some of the environmental aspects of how this site changed through time.
The paintings are so old that it's impossible to give them an exact date. The team of researchers is trying to get round this problem by examining them in great detail.
They used these particular paintings, a mulberry-coloured ochre. And one of the parts of the project that we're most excited about is that we're going to try and characterise the chemical components or the characteristics of these particular ochres, so we can compare ochres from various different sources, and we can try and work out which ochres were used on which particular periods through time. And that's going to be another element that we can use to help sort out the chronology of all these paintings. So you can see here where the actual ochre on the surface has come off. The stain remains. And this is why we believe the paintings could be very, very old.
Carved stone, pigments, wasp nests, sediment, photos, drawings, all the clues that may help us solve the mystery of these rock paintings will be analysed in the following weeks in a laboratory in Sydney. Several months will be needed for us to understand more about these mysterious works of art, and probably more expeditions to cover this inaccessible and unknown territory.
Well, that's it for this edition of Reporters. You can watch this story and all our other reports once again on our website. Just go to france24.com. That's france24.com. Until next time, bye-bye.